What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Opinion, and let's talk about it. We're getting close to college football, and the team that everybody keeps talking about all offseason, they can't stop talking about them, are those Texas Longhorns and Arch Manning. And we're going to get into it this video because I want to talk about what I think Texas is going to be this season, as opposed to maybe what everybody else thinks Texas is going to be. Now, let's set the stage. Last year, I made a video similar to this talking about I thought Texas might have been the most overrated team. It turned out that Florida State ended up being the most overrated team, considering that they went 2-10. I thought Texas might have had a chance to lose 3 games in the regular season. I believe they went 11-1 in the regular season. Now, Texas did lose 3 games. They lost to Ohio State, and then they got beat by Georgia twice. So not bad company if you're going to lose, to lose to, 2 of the top programs in the country. So Texas far out and exceeded what I thought that they could do last year. And the video that I put out last year, I ended up being wrong about that. So I will admit that. But I'm back again. I want to talk about the Texas Longhorns because I just honestly think that, and I know you might think that it sounds like last year, but I think this year is different. I think I overlooked a few things. I think Texas is overrated. Now, are they the most overrated team? I'm not going to say they're the most overrated team. I mean, there's probably somebody else in the top 25 or the top 10 that may not even finish in the top 25 by the end of the year. It happens every year. There's always one team. Don't know who that's going to be. I don't think that that's going to be Texas, but I do think Texas is overrated. I mean, first of all, they're coming in this season number one in the coaches poll, number 1 on the CBS poll. When the AP poll drops, I would expect Texas to be number 1 as well. And the big reason why they're number 1 is because they have a guy named Arch Manning. You guys have probably heard of him. And it's more so his last name, because when we really sit down and look at it, what has Arch Manning really done in college? Now, when I preface that question, I'm not saying Arch Manning's a bad quarterback or that I think he's going to be bad. I'm on a wait and see mode. But at the end of the day, what has Arch Manning really done in college? And the answer is he hadn't really done a whole lot. And so from that perspective, I don't know how I can just rank Texas number 1 when you've got a new quarterback starting, albeit Arch did start, 2.5 games last year, and then he came in some in the Georgia game. I think in the SEC or in the first time they played Georgia for sure. This is going to be his 3rd year in the system under Sarkisian. Sarkisian can scheme some things up. We know that. But at the end of the day, we have to look at this Texas team. Okay, a new quarterback. They're replacing 4 offensive line starters. They actually just had an offensive lineman go down the other day, who's going to be out for the season, Kojo. And so from that perspective, I don't think he was slated to start, but he was somebody that was expected to contribute to this team this year. He's going to be out for the season, so now it's Texas has to dig deeper into the pool of offensive linemen to basically be able to find a backup, probably over there at right tackle behind Brandon Baker. You look at their receivers; they lost Isaiah, they lost Bond, they lost Golden, they lost Silas Bolden. They also lost their tight end from last year as well. And so when you look at this offense, I mean, they are replacing a lot of production, not only just in the skill positions, and then, Jaden Blue, they lost him as well. So they're not only replacing a lot of production in the skill positions, but they are replacing a lot of experience and production up front. And so for that reason, that when I start just on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know how I could rank Texas number 1. I think this team's overrated. I think there's going to be a reckoning when people realize maybe this Texas team is taking a step back from what they were the last 2 years. Now, if we were to fast forward to next year, 2026, I give Texas all the props. But this year, I think Texas probably got 2 or 3 losses lined up for them, and one being Ohio State. So out the gate, I think are automatically 0-1 right out of the gate, and then from there, we'll have to see. Red River is always tricky. They got Florida as long as DJ Lagway comes back. They couldn't beat Georgia last year. Now they're going to have to go on the road. Still got A&M, still got Arkansas. So although they're playing the same SEC schedule, I think that their SEC schedule is actually a little tougher this year because because you've got some quarterbacks coming back, some of the teams that Texas is playing this year are expected to be better. Now let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball with Texas. And one of the things I underestimated last year, I underestimated the ability of Vernon Broughton and Alfred Collins, as well as Barron Sorrell, to really step in and kind of fill that void that was left by the defensive tackles that Texas had in 2023. But now, not only have they lost those guys, but Texas has also lost a few defensive tackles to the transfer portal who probably would have been filling in as starters. They lost the one to LSU and another one transferred somewhere else. So on the interior of that defense, if I start there, because that's where I start with offense and defense, I always start at the line of scrimmage. On the interior of that defensive line, Texas had to rely on the portal for just about all of the defensive tackles that are going to be getting some playing time this year, maybe outside of Alex January and the 5-star recruit that they brought in who's going to be a true freshman. But other than that, they will be relying on transfer portal defensive tackles. Now, I'm not saying these defensive tackles are bad, but I just don't expect you to get the exact same production out of the inside that you got in the last couple of years, because at the end of the day, Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, and Barron Sorrell, those guys played key contributing parts on that 2023 team. So they had the experience and the know-how to know exactly what it's going to take to get back to a semifinal, and that's what they did. And then when you look at their secondary, Jahdae Barron, Thorpe Award winner, I don't think you're going to replace that. I mean, yeah, you've got Malik Muhammad, who's very, very talented. You've got Michael Taft in the secondary who's smart and talented as well, and then you've got some other safeties that should be stepping in, but I just don't think you're going to be able to replace Jahdae Barron, the experience, and then the level that he played at last year, where when you watched him play, you're like, okay, this is the best defensive back in all the land as well. And then when we move over to the linebacking position, now they do have Anthony Hill. A lot of people believe that he is the best middle linebacker. I can't disagree. You've got Colin Simmons, but my question with Colin Simmons is, can Colin Simmons develop into an every down player? And what I mean by that is that Colin Simmons really was a third down or basically a passing down specialist. So if Texas was able to anticipate that the other team was in a passing down, you could put Colin Simmons in and just tell him to go rush the passer. But can Colin Simmons develop into a player that not only is he effective when rushing the passer, but also when the other team is in down and distances where they're probably going to run the ball? Can he be effective there as well? Now, the stats say he can, but that's not what we saw last year as a true freshman. So you would expect him to incorporate that into his arsenal. So like I said, Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, you got no gripe from me there. But at the end of the day, you need more than just two players to be elite. And people are calling this Texas defense the best defense in all of college football. I don't think so. I'd be willing to make a bet that I bet Oklahoma has a better defense than what Texas has. Now, Texas on the stats may end up with a better defense, but that's because they're playing a little bit of a softer schedule as it compared to Oklahoma. But I think when you look at the eye test, I think Oklahoma is going to end up having a better defense than what Texas has as well. So overall, I just think that people are overrating Texas because of one man, and his last name is Manning. If his last name was just Man, I don't think Texas would be number one. I think people would be looking at all the things that I talked about and talking about why Texas is going to take somewhat of a step back. But because his last name is Manning, now people just want to overrate, put him at number one, say they're going to win the championship, and I just don't see that. So I think Texas is overrated. Are they the most overrated? No, probably not the most overrated, but overrated nonetheless. I don't think Texas is going to do it this year. I broke it down for you why. I know it's going to be a lot of Texas fans in the comments, so hey, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me where maybe I'm missing the boat. Because when it was Oklahoma last year, when Oklahoma was incorporating a new offensive line and a new quarterback, everybody was like, hey, Oklahoma might struggle. And they did, with a new quarterback, new offensive line. But now that Texas is the one with the new quarterback and the new offensive line, now Texas is just supposed to be different. And that goes the same for anybody in the SEC. They always say when you're replacing a quarterback and you're replacing that much up front on the offensive line, that gives you cause to concern. But now all of a sudden, because it's Texas and the guy's last name is Manning, nobody's concerned. Doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me. But leave the comments down below. Tell me, what did I miss in my breakdown? Leave it down below. And other than that, I'm out.